All right, we're recording. So welcome to Body Awareness Weekend. Let's get this body party started. We've got Shannon O'Hara, woohoo! We've got Dr. Glenna Rice, woohoo! We've got Dr. Lisa Cooney, ha! We've got Dr. Andrew Gardella, woohoo! Yeah, welcome you guys. So what we wanted really was just a chance to get you guys together and talk about bodies and kind of launch the Body Awareness Weekend off. Body Awareness Weekend is mostly happening just sort of in events and with individuals within their body doing fun things for their body all around the world. And it was just fun to get as many people as wanted to join and can join as possible together to get it all kicked off. And so happy to answer questions about the event itself, but also would love to just talk about bodies and, have these brilliant body facilitators, 3-day body facilitators, talk a little bit about what Body Awareness Weekend is to them and anything at all that they'd love to share and responding to some questions and such. So there is a chat down at the bottom. You can click chat and you can enter in questions. And if you've got a burning question you want to ask out loud, we can have you unmute, but I'm going to keep most of you on mute most of the time. It'd be preferable to keep the noise down. So if you are noisy and you're not muted, I will be muting you. All right. So you guys, do you want to go ahead? Shannon, do you want to kick it off?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, definitely. And thank you, Meredith, for really being the sort of motivation and inspiration for this. I think that Body Awareness Weekend is such an exciting new possibility. And what would it really take for us to have body awareness lives? It's Andrew Gardella and he was just down here in Australia for the end of the year classes. And he and I got up and made an announcement about this Zoom and Body Awareness Weekend and at the Access Facilitators class. And he and I were joking around beforehand, and we were talking about what we were going to make an announcement about. And I said, hey, I suggested, hey, do you guys know about Body Awareness Weekend? And Andrew goes, hey, are you guys aware you have bodies? And it was sort of he said it as a joke, but I started thinking about how much we walk around on autopilot with our bodies. And most of us don't even realize or pay attention to the body until it has a problem or it's sick or it hurts. And so it sort of starts this interesting new conversation or possibility of what if we had body awareness. And what is body awareness? Because a lot of us know what body judgment is. A lot of us know what dealing with body problems is. How many of us really fully claim and own body awareness? And is body awareness really a popular thing on the planet? And so I think this conversation about body awareness is a very new, interesting doorway to go through that a lot of us, I'll speak for myself personally, I had no idea what body awareness was until I did a lot of body work and a lot of access. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, my body. And it was I could hear it for the first time and I could get what its consciousness was. And I had been totally disconnected from that all my life. So I think that body awareness is an interesting new possibility. And I know that's why we do the Access body classes. And that's really what's, I think, so exciting about Access is it includes the body in the journey to consciousness, not excludes the body in the journey to consciousness. So, yeah.
I love that, Shannon, what you said about including the body in consciousness. As somebody that's come from many different, schools of thoughts and other trainings and other modalities and licenses and things like that, before Access Consciousness, one of the things that was my biggest pet peeve is that the body was never included in any of those modalities. And then when I first got myself on the table and my shoulders were about this far off the table, when I started doing, bars or body process, and by the end of the session, my shoulder finally hit the table, and the control freak and the way that my body had been, wired, finally let go. And that was the first time, so 5 years ago now, whatever it's been since I've been with Access, was the first time that I really got the sense of what these hands-on processes, both the bars and the body processes, could do for body. And if it could do that for me, the pretty big control freak that I was, and, had a lot of, past history of keeping everything away from my body, I was like, everybody in the world needs this, if this could do this for me. I mean, it sounds a little narcissistic, but if it could work for me, it can work for anybody is what I thought in the moment. And I was so pleased.
How funny is that? I mean, I think that a lot of people could testify to that, what you said, that the first time they've ever relaxed was when they came to Access. Like the first time their body ever really relaxed was with an Access body process or the abuse hold or the body processes. I mean, how many of us is that true for? So
yeah,
aren't we so lucky?
We are so lucky. And one of the other very visceral experiences I had in some of my first body processes and that relaxation, what you were talking about, is I could literally feel and perceive my organs, like my liver, when we did like MTVSS, for instance, third eye, thymus, liver, spleen, kidneys. When the hands were on my liver, spleen, I could literally feel the liver, the gallbladder, the spleen, the intestines relax, like drop inside my body. You could have just like, I don't even know what to say regarding that, but I was like, wow. You're not supposed to be able to feel your organs, Lisa. What are you talking about? You mean you're aware of your insides? Well, it's just the way I roll, you know. It's the way we all roll, truthfully. But yeah, that's one of the biggest things for me is about Body Awareness Weekend is just really paying attention to my body. I too was in Oz, as you know, for the last 6 weeks and just got back, and I've been back for 3 or 4 or 5 days at tops, and my body is tired. I let myself have a bars and a body process every day, let alone what we were doing in the classes, the body processes and bars. And I'd never had that before for 6 straight weeks. And what I have become aware of, I'm still putting into words, and don't think I can put it into words just so accurately or succinctly here, is deeply rooted patterns of stuff that I've been working on for a long time that maybe Gary or Dane have showed me, but I couldn't quite see it. And from these 6 weeks and spending that time on the table, I really have a whole new awareness of something that I don't even know how it's going to change my life, but I know it's going to create my future in a very different way and create my body in a very different way and create my business and my money flows and my relationship and all relationships, in such a different way. And I'm so, so grateful to Gary and Dane and all of us and all of you, out there that decided to make your body important today and kick off with us.
And I think that's really like the bigger part or the bigger picture of this is that doing these processes and actually listening to your body and having an awareness of your body creates a greater life for you. Because so many people think that, oh, I don't have time to do this or I can't afford to do this. But my point of view is how can you not afford to do this? It's like you were saying, Lisa, like this changed your whole life, choosing to do these processes and everything. So it's not just like running these processes changes physical things. It changes everything in your life. And go ahead, Shannon.
Well, I'm just really curious. It's something that, as Lisa was talking, I wonder if we could talk about what body awareness is and can be. Because I think that a lot of us, I think the body awareness title is a super exciting, inviting, interesting thing. But when we really start talking about or looking at body awareness, it's such an interesting, different reality that I am still discovering. And I know that I'm still discovering it, and I'm a facilitator of body awareness. And so I think that so let's look at, I know for myself, that when I started becoming more conscious, and we all know that Access makes you more conscious, and how many of us have discovered even what consciousness is as we've come upon it, is like, oh, this is what awareness is. And how many of us actually have liked it, and how many of us have tried to not be aware of the stuff that our body's aware of specifically.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we could run some processes, maybe give some tools, talk about some stuff that we can begin to really unlock what body awareness can be, especially since there's so many of us here. And I mean, isn't this a great sign that we're talking about body awareness and there's so many people on this Zoom coming in from around the world to discover what this is, to create more of this in reality. And so what do you guys all know about body awareness that you might not actually be cognizing or acknowledging right now?
And what awareness can your body give you about body awareness?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's so funny that we're doing this as a Zoom and all we can see is our heads on the screen because really we're talking, which is a super head thing. And so it's an interesting distinction between the world that our heads live in and really the reality or the worlds that our bodies live in or are part of and are.
And then our head is part of our body.
They really go together, don't they?
Everyone's doing an interpretive dance with their face.
They're asking for interpretive dance with their faces in my class.
That's hysterical. One of my favorite questions that you that Access has talked about and is like, what are you aware of? That's when I started really getting into my own body awareness. Is like if I have a pain or an intensity or flu-like symptoms or a headache or I stepped wrong and whatever, a muscle out of whack or my neck's out of place. It's like, okay, what am I aware of? Whose is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it? The 4 questions from Foundation. And also, those are my favorite ones. And then also using the 1, 2, 3s to the earth and really asking the earth to be a contribution to me. I spent a lot of time in this trip in Oz, really honing in the body classes that I was facilitating, really honing in and like, if the earth was truly my ally, which it is, it's all of our ally. And if my body is truly my ally versus, the enemy that I spent it being for so many years, what could it be aware of? What could it contribute to me? Like just playing in the collaboratory, right? Just playing with it. Why not just give it a chance and let it show you how brilliant and how amazing and that might just change everything that you're getting all triggered or reactive or destroying your life with.
Oh, I've got an idea. Thank you, Lisa. Oh, you're inspiring so much awareness for me. So can we run some processes about like against the body stuff?
Sure.
So shall we do all of our projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments of our bodies? And revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate them? Right,
yes.
Wrong, good, bad, online, pod, poc, shorts, boys, meons. Wow. Woo! And all of our projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments of other people's bodies. That's a revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pod, poc, shorts, boys, meons. Wow.
Everything we define our
body has more than your.
Sorry, you guys were talking at the same time?
Say it again, Andrew.
I said I like how other people's body is heavier than your body.
So shall we do all of the projections, expectations, separations, rejections, and judgments and violence that other people have towards their bodies that our bodies are telling us about? Shall we revoke, recant, rescind, renounce, denounce, destroy, and create everywhere we made that ours, bought it as ours, and didn't identify it as someone else's?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And what have we made so vital, valuable, and real about the sacred, eternal, and inviolate orders and schematics of judgment and projections that keep us from the chaos of full body awareness?
And everything that is, let's destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Do it again, Lisa.
Oh my God, I don't even know if I'll remember it. What have I made so vital, valuable, and real about the sacred, eternal, and inviolate order and schematics of judgments and projections against our bodies that keeps us from the chaos of full body awareness?
And everything that is, let's destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pod, puck, shirts, boys, and beyonds.
Ooh, that helped me. Thank you.
So what comes up for everyone when we talk about body awareness? And all that is, shall we destroy it and create it? Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pod, puck, shirts, boys, and beyonds.
Wow. And everything we defined our bodies as, that isn't, and everything we locked on, all the points of orders that we locked onto our bodies, onto our ass, onto our arms, onto our eyes, onto our face, everything, onto our spine, onto our legs, onto our feet, that actually isn't. Let's revoke, rescind, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it, and dissipate and release it to the earth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or give it back to whomever's it is. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. With consciousness attached, of course.
Keep going.
Keep going. I'll start singing, hi bodies, hi bodies, hi bodies, hi bodies, hi bodies. That's something that I love doing that and just saying hi body, hi body, hi body, hi body, hi body, hi body. It really helps me just get in touch with my body and just say hi to it, and allows me to be aware that I actually have a body that is aware, that is so much more aware than just this 10% here of my head. And the two, like we were talking about, that coherence between the mind and the body is really, really essential. Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean the coherence between the mind and the body?
I think it's, well, for me, like if my body is aware of something and I'm interacting with something or I'm creating something in my business, my body is aware of it. If I turn that off and not be aware of it, then I'm going to shut that awareness off and make a choice perhaps from my head that isn't actually going to be the lightest or rightest choice. I realize that there's no right or wrong. But what if I had that coherence between like, oh, here's where my mind is limiting or in a schematic about where I can go, but my body might not be. And what if I actually became aware of that and could have that coherence between the two and start listening, be like, okay, is my mind limiting me and constricting me? Is my body, expanding me? Like I ask my body, like, is this my mind or my body talking? And if it's my mind, I get back into my body. And because it's usually heavy with my mind. And we've talked about so many, refined judgments that has been like the hot topic up in Australia right now. And Dane said not just in Australia, but all over the world. Dane said, awareness is light. I keep hearing that. Awareness is light. If it's not light, it's a refined judgment. And I find that my body tends to give me more of the lightness of awareness than my mind at times. But I'm practicing with my mind to expand it, to give me the lightness of awareness as well as my body. Is that?
I think a lot of people heard a lot of stuff in that. So thank you, Lisa. Yeah, for sure.
But I think, like you were saying, Lisa, the thing is, and it's kind of odd for me in doing these classes, or one of the things I realized, because I was an athlete for so long, so listening to my body was kind of like the only way you do anything with your body is to listen to it. Because when I didn't listen to it, there was usually something like either I lost, which is probably like the one thing, but I just suffered through something, and I was like when I was wrestling, and I would have to.
Can we do a process on that? So everywhere we've suffered our bodies rather than enjoyed our bodies, shall we destroy it and create all that?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all that. Five shorts, boys, and everywhere it's more appropriate to suffer your body rather than enjoy the body. Shall we destroy it and create? Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pack shorts, boys, and and everyone else's bodies that our bodies are suffering for. Shall we destroy and create all that? And maybe disconnect.
Wow,
right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pack shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Well, and it's like everywhere your body's suffering you.
That was a good one.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pack shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Wow.
Because I think one of the coolest things, you and Glenna did a class like last year in July. And one of the cool things you said, Shannon, that I take and I use in my classes now too a lot is, look, this is a body class. This isn't about your head. This isn't about your mind. So, I don't think you said shut up, but now I say shut up. Shut up and run the process. It's like if you actually just, and what you were saying, Lisa, is it's like people it's so weird to not listen to your body. And what if that could change? Like, what if including your body and actually listening to your body wasn't this foreign concept? And I really think that's what body awareness is looking at, promoting. It's like, well, what if it wasn't this weird thing of like, well, my body wants this and I want this, and now we're in conflict. Or I want this and I don't care what my body desires. But it's like, what if you were actually using your body to your advantage and using the awareness that it offers to your advantage?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Sorry, that using the body to the advantage thing, it's sort of like when you say that, what really I notice comes up a lot is that allowed to use your body to your advantage, It's like that's usually
everyone's going to turn into strippers.
Yeah, and exactly. So everything that comes up about using your body to your advantage, should we destroy and create all this? right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, hands. But that also brings me to the question of, do you actually think that having a body is an advantage or a disadvantage?
Bingo.
And so we think that is, let's destroy it, uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, hands. Where did Glenna go?
I'm back. I'm here.
Oh, hello.
Hi. I've had to check in with my class a couple times.
Oh, okay, cool.
My bodies.
Glenna's bringing real life body process energy into this conversation. Go girl.
Did you guys hear that? Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, thanks guys. That's wonderful to have some body processes going on during this, because that's the whole thing about Body Awareness Weekend, is really emphasizing, highlighting, prioritizing this body awareness stuff. So I wonder right now if we can all, I mean, it's so interesting. I can actually feel your class now, Glenna. So thank you so much. Like my body's actually feeling better now that we're more connected to you guys.
And Susan has a class going on right now too.
Oh, wonderful. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm jealous. Why aren't I doing a class? Why are we all doing class?
You know, I had a great question about, talking about these bodies and awareness, but one of the participants in the class asked, what would it be like to create with the body? Like, with the creations in her life, to include her body in these creations, or actually create with the body. And we started the morning out with that conversation. And we've talked about body awareness, like being aware you have a body. That's part of it. But also the awarenesses your body gives you about everything around you and what it's asking for. Like there's body awareness of your body, but your body has all this amazing information that it's aware of, that it can gift you all the time, that we turn into, like Lisa was talking about, the pains, the problems, the injuries. I mean, it's talking to us, and we can twist this conversation that your body has all the time with you into other things that limit how it can contribute to what you're asking to create. And so much of what we're asking to create is stuff for our body.
Can I give an example of that, Glenna? Because I mean, this I would think is the number one most basic fundamental thing that we do, where we twist our body's awareness into pain, basically.
Yeah.
I do a lot of work on the computer, as a lot of us do nowadays. That's where a lot of us are a lot. And I'll spend a lot of time on the computer, and sometimes I catch it before it turns into my body being really unhappy about being in front of the computer. And sometimes I ignore it and I keep pushing. And yesterday I had a big push on the computer, and by the end of the day, my body was not okay. My left leg felt weird and electrical, and like I couldn't deal with it, and I couldn't get rid of it if I massaged it, and it was just not. And this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I should really find out what's going on with the Zoom, and I should get on the computer. My body was like, no. And I went, oh, but I really need to. In my head, I'm pointing to my head, I really need to find out what's going on. And my body instantly, my legs started hurting, and I was like, okay, never mind. So I said, what do you need? And it was lay down and do this. And so I laid down for 25 minutes and stretched and breathed and worked through it. And it took maybe 20 minutes, and it was totally shifted. But it's 20 minutes I wasn't willing to take yesterday. And my body was like, get up, do something different. And that's, I think 20 minutes laying on the ground stretching is a pretty reasonable thing for my body to ask for. And it's interesting how much I don't go there, but it turns into, if you don't get up from the computer, or you don't put your, stop eating, or you don't put down the cigarette when you want to smoke, or you don't, listen to your body when it gives you information about whatever, it will turn into a signal that you cannot ignore. And that's what's so magical about the body. If we listen.
Right.
And then, was it actually even a pain in your leg? I mean, it was just.
Exactly. It was a creative energy that needed to be moved through my body. And that's what goes on for me a lot. I'll work a lot on the computer in my head creating, and then my body will want to walk really fast, or jump on the trampoline, or have sex, or go swimming and move. And then all of a sudden, everything that I'd been working on expands, and there's more ease, and that's the contribution that the body is. But we never are taught or even really shown how the body contributes to the creation of our lives, our realities. It's almost like it's still an imagination thing rather than an embodied.
So often when we do the things you're talking about, like go and stretch or take a walk, we feel like we're going away from our creations and just doing this other silly thing,
right?
Touching on the bed, and why don't I get back to work and start creating, when it's actually hugely contributing to the creation that you're in the middle of doing, or your future creations. Yeah, the body has so much more to give to us than we ever acknowledge.
What you guys are talking about, I love it. It's like, and I heard this in Access, and it might have been Gary, but I'm sure many people have said it, but it's like, what job have you given your body? And I know when I first heard that question, the job that I was giving my body was what we were talking about earlier, like to endure, to tolerate, even to suffer. I couldn't believe it.
Let's destroy it and create all this.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And then
But suffering the body has been almost a glamorous sexual enticing thing for so many centuries, for the body to suffer. I mean, there's a weird, that's S&M, there's a very sexual element to the suffering of bodies.
It's been really popular, Shannon, for thousands of years.
Well, suffering gets you closer to God,
And all of that is, let's destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Woohoo! We're all getting closer to God, which is just dog spelled backwards. Right, wrong, whatever that is. Right, wrong, good, bad, PUD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So I really started playing with, like, what if my body, what would my body like to do? And I did that with, like you were saying, if it wants to smoke. I don't smoke, but, if it wants to drink, how much do I want to drink? How much food do I want to put in my mouth? I actually, and Gary talks a lot about this, about the homeopathic, with food, for instance. And I grew up in a family that the big joke was Italian family. My mom was Italian, and she would say, the joke in the town was 1 pound of meat for 1 meatball. It was like, we didn't have portion control at all. So it was just like, you just ate until it was done. And recently, with changes that I've made with my body, I realized that by being aware of what my body actually desires, I only require a couple of bites. And if I chew those bites really, really slowly and actually taste them, I'm actually giving my body what it requires and then stopping when it says stop. And it's been such a really interesting process with me for food. Because it has historically been something that has been very, very difficult for me. And I'm having such a different relationship. It was kind of hairy for a little while, but today, like, I'm having a pretty good relationship with my body with regards to food and drink and movement and even clothes and putting them on my body and not putting things on my body that my body doesn't like with fabric and stuff, and having that awareness. It's that job of, like, what if being embodied was actually an orgasmic experience instead of that suffering endurance? It's like light bulb, right? And that's what the body processes do, as in your class, Glenna, and we all know this as body class facilitators, like, there's that moment. And it starts from the beginning, but usually for me, I notice it on, like, the second day of the body class, where the symphony of the bodies really start to take over. And it's there, but, like, everybody gets into it. And the symphonies of the body starts playing, and people get really quickly aware of what the body processes are that the body requires. And a lot of the drama and the trauma in the head goes away. And then it's just freaking beautiful bodies speaking the language of possibility and magic, and dismissing the disempowerment and the violence and the endurance to, like, oh my God, this is beautiful, you're so beautiful, thank you. And the smiles get bigger, and the communion between people gets wider, and all of those projections that we were talking about before just kind of floats away in the classroom. It's just amazing. And then there's that moment where, just say, like, what if the world in this moment, and noticing it in class, what if the world was actually like that all the time? And what if we are contributing every class, like your class right now, Glenna, like, as soon as Shannon said her body, felt so relaxed and whatever, it's like, wow, you're contributing to the entire world right now. And thank you. And thank all of us.
It's talking about contributing to the entire world, what these classes have done over the years. We've just started talking a little bit about the joy with the bodies and orgasmic energies of the body. It's totally, 180 degrees from the suffering bodies that we've had for so many thousands of years. But, like, years ago, Shannon was in a class with her, with Gary, asking, could we talk about the joy of embodiment? And Gary would say, nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. And that wasn't that many years ago. I'd say 6 or 7. And now, with all these years of doing these body processes, all over the world and having the people changing their points of view about bodies and starting to have awareness and receiving the awareness and choosing to not have the suffering that Lisa's been talking about, we have changed the world. This is something I can talk about with such ease in every single class I have now, is the joy of embodiment, having joy with your body, eating from pleasure, wearing clothes that give your body pleasure, and having that without people going, huh? What are you talking about? I've never even heard of such a thing. It's like there's more of an ease. We are changing the world with these body processes that we're doing, these body classes, and changing bodies around the world. It's like amazing. Like, how does it get better than that?
So what energy, space, and consciousness? I love the energy, space, and consciousness processes, because they're really like oldies but goodies. What energy, space, and consciousness can we in our bodies be to create a reality that is the joy of embodiment rather than the hatred of bodies? Everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy it and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, putt, shirts, boys, beyonds. What energy, space, and consciousness can we in our bodies be to create a reality that is the joy of embodiment rather than the hatred of bodies?
Yes.
Everything that doesn't allow that, let's destroy it and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, putt, shirts, boys, and beyonds. Wow.
What have we made so vital, valuable, and real about the sacred, eternal, inviolate orders and schematics of violence against bodies that keeps us from the chaos of orgasmic body awareness, orgasmic living. I can't even say that. Apparently I need this clearing. Orgasmic living, and the magic of possibilities with bodies. Everything and anything that brings up and that's down, let's destroy and uncreate it.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, putt, shirts, boys, beyonds.
Thank you. Tripped over my words there.
I like to be a podpocker. Sorry.
I like that you podpocker like that. It's such teamwork. There are a couple questions, actually, a few questions in here, cool. And Andrew's kind of responding to some of them, but we can say some of them out loud. So Amelia said, "My body does not get turned on anymore. Is there any process I can run to help my body feel again?"
Yeah, I'd say what did your body start perceiving that you absolutely refused? And I think that that's what goes on. I mean, I think that that's a pretty well-known phenomenon. It's like I guess like, what have we decided our bodies can't handle that they actually can?
Yeah, and I think if you actually turned your body on, what would happen? Or if your body got turned on, like, what would happen?
Explosion of change! Everything doesn't allow that. Let's just create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, boys and beyonds.
And to that same person, I might even run all the secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, unspoken, undisclosed agendas to shutting your body off. Just to clear it even more, or to just maneuver beyond it even more, a little bit more. Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Because usually we make a decision, like when somebody is like, they say, I was doing fine until X, or, and if that person was live here, and asking a question, be like, when did you notice that occurring, or when did you shut off? Like, how old were you, or something like that? And all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, computations, let alone the secret, hidden, invisible, covert, unseen, unacknowledged, unspoken, undisclosed agendas to that, or right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And then a couple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s could help. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is looking at, because I know a lot of times with access, especially people do body processes or they pock and pod something, and they always come and say, well, I'm not turned on anymore, or I'm not as excited as I was. And I also look at it as, well, did you actually step into a space of where you have a different sense of turn on? Like you're looking to go back to the turn on that you used to have before you started doing access and before you started clearing and changing all these things. And so that reference point is no longer there, but so people go to, well, my body's not turned on anymore. Well, is that actually true? Or is it a different space that you stepped into that you haven't acknowledged?
Yeah. That's awesome.
And something that I know that my dad suggests, which I find funny that I suggested too, because it's somewhat of a sexual thing, but it is totally, it works, is it's like, either if like you're having what Andrew was talking about you've stepped into a new awareness, because I know a lot of us have, how many times have we stepped into a new awareness and then we feel like we've lost something, or we can't quite figure out what's going on, or like we sort of lose feeling, which is in essence what access does, because it facilitates the awareness of perceiving rather than feeling, which to most of us is a foreign language when we first happen upon it. But if you're not having sensation or turn on in the body, like lay down and have someone touch you really gently and energetically and with a lot of presence and caring and kindness for the body. Either touch your body very gently or even touch just above the body, very sensually, very, very sexually, with all the sexual energies there. And then if you can receive that, awesome. And if you find that you have stuff coming up around receiving that, pod pocket, and that this is your discovery of what can change and the stuff that needs to be cleansed, cleared, and detoxed from your system so that you can let your body receive.
Turn on energies.
And beyond, yeah, exactly.
In this reality, turn on is often created from judgment, which is a density. And what Andrew was talking about, the more, you've started to choose more consciousness with your body, that may not be available to you the way it was. So you actually may be perceiving that you've lost your turn on, and it may just be something very different that is actually an energetic way of being orgasmic on the planet, and not this place of judgment that we grew up with or saw in this reality about what.
Oh, darn, you can no longer get off on the hatred of your body.
Of body.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
And everywhere you want to mourn the loss of the hatred of your body, we destroy and uncreate all this, please. Right, wrong, good, bad, all night, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Yikes.
And what's coming to me is like, what energy, space, and consciousness can we in our bodies be to perceive, know, be, and receive the space of infinite possibility that our bodies and our awareness truly be?
Yes.
All right. You do it.
Wrong, good, bad, all night, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I thought you were like leaving applause for me.
That's awesome. And what energy, space, and consciousness can you and your bodies be to be, know, perceive, and receive all the sources of turn on with total ease?
Well, I love that one, Andrew. No.
Yeah.
And everything doesn't allow that. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and puck, all night. Yeah.
Yeah, like we've all changed so much more, and I know for myself, I've changed so much more than I really even give myself credit for, or credit really isn't the right word, but like I'm acknowledging myself for that. And that point you made, Andrew, about like going back to that reference point in the new space, I really, really love that, and I'm very thankful for that. And the whole conversation of that, because it just puts it back in my awareness again, like, oh yeah. This is the change, right? The favorite question, Dane's question, is this the change that we even have a moment, when we were talking about getting to being you facilitators in Australia, and you told me that you kept asking because you were so uncomfortable, and I was telling you how uncomfortable I was, and there was so much going on, and you're like, I keep asking, is this the change that I'm requesting, showing up in a different way than I expected? And we both looked at each other with like our eyes spinning and, just going through whatever we were going through in that moment. We were like, oh, thank God, yes, it is the change. I chose this, and I chose this, and I chose this. And whoever said consciousness isn't uncomfortable at times, right? And Dane always says, right, in that place and space of discomfort, if you just keep leaning in, the miracle is right on the other side. And when you don't acknowledge those miracles, how much more judgments and intensity and projections and destruction and violence against you do you choose?
Yeah. And I think that's a great point, because it's not always, like you were saying, you have to acknowledge the change that's showing up, but we have these points of views that, the change should be light, it should be fluffy, it should be like we expect the change to look a certain way. And then all of a sudden, it's like, because I was going through this period where I kept getting heavier and heavier with my body. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And at first I was looking to change something. They're all like waving. That's so awesome. And then I just finally asked, okay, is this the change I'm asking for showing up differently than I expect? And it started to like give me more ease with it. Instead of looking to change the change that was showing up, you can actually receive it.
Right.
Do we have more questions, Meredith?
We have a lot more questions, actually. Shani, on sort of that same topic, what about not feeling others touch? I feel me touching and it all feels like me.
Oh, I didn't quite get that. Say that
I
again.
kind of got it. I would say, have you made any decisions about being touched by others? We destroy and cradle that, right? Rugged
No.
battle, puck shirts, boys and beyonds. I mean, and how many barriers, blockades, walls have you guys erected around your bodies? I mean, it is
That's
quite.
not the kind of erection you want.
Maybe it is the kind of erection she wants, Andrew. That's the
And maybe
thing.
she's willing to make a different choice.
You
Now
know,
let's
it's like
clear of it.
it's considered more normal to walk around behind a million barriers than it is to walk around barrierless and totally vulnerable through the world.
Oh God, yeah.
And so how many barriers, force fields, you know, fortified fortresses have you erected around your body so that it never is touched, or you never feel it, or no one ever touches it, or no one ever judges it, or there is no interaction of energy between you and the world and your body and the other bodies in the world.
Whoa. Wow.
So let's destroy and cradle this. We're talking about online pod pictures, boys and fans. And I wonder right now if we could also actually just practice all together, really pushing down our barriers. You know, pushing down the barriers in the head, but also really relaxing down the barriers of the body, relaxing totally. As Lisa said in the very beginning, it's like the first time she received the Access Body processes was the first time she ever really relaxed in her body. And so if we relaxed more now and really pushed down all of our barriers, you know, sometimes that's pleasurable and sometimes that's extremely uncomfortable for people. But isn't that a great place to start in body awareness?
It's interesting that they're more people are more comfortable with suffering than having ease with their body. Like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable. I'm getting to ease with my body.
And so everything that doesn't expedite the change of that reality, let's destroy and uncreate.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good battle, 9 pad puck shirts, boys and men. I mean, I really want to pose the question again. It's like, do you want to have a body? You know, because a lot of people, I mean, it's like, that's something I really had to look at. Because I mean, how many of all of us wanted to die, you know, and kill our bodies in this lifetime alone? It's like most of us could probably count on, not even on both hands, how many times we wanted to die. And we put it on the body, this problem that we have with living. And it's sort of like, and since I deal with entities so much as well, I've discovered that even people without bodies have the same problems and insanity that we do with bodies. And so it's really not the body that creates the problem. It's really the being that's inventing the problem. And you'll take that with you. And that's what Gary says, that you'll come back here lifetime after lifetime until you get the greatness of embodiment.
So killing your body doesn't change it.
Yeah, killing. I mean, it's like, how many times have you guys run into an entity that committed suicide that's still lost and confused and fucked up, you know?
Right.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
And everything that was.
Yeah, right.
Right or wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, online shirts, boys and beyond. Yeah. Awesome.
Wow. Well, the thing you talked about regarding the structures, this is my new favorite clearing. I keep saying it. With the stem sentence, what have it made so vital, valuable, and real about the sacred, eternal, and inviolate orders and schematics of erected structures and barriers of embodiment that keeps me from and keeps us from the chaos of true vulnerability and true vulnerability.
Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pod, puck shirts, boys, beyonds.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to make a bit of an apology about what I just did a second ago with the entities, because I'm now feeling all these entities around everybody. I sort of directed so all of the entities that are around you guys that did commit suicide, that are trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of the problem, can you guys tell them that they're all free to go now? And
Yes.
that they don't have bodies anymore?
That they don't
Yes.
have. Back to your great.
Who are y'all before that? Who are y'all before that? Who y'all before that? Who are y'all going to be in the future? Awesome.
That's awesome.
That
Some
was
people
funny.
were talking on the chat about having headaches and things like that. So I think you hit it right I think you hit it right on the nail on the head there, Shannon. And
maybe all of the entities without bodies that, I mean, it's like how many other, how do I put this? It's like, yeah.
I like how we have a ton of disembodied beings now on the body awareness call.
Well, it's interesting because it's like, it's almost like they never got peace with their bodies.
Yeah.
right.
And so it's like they're still stuck too.
And how many of them are hoping to have change when they have a body, or if they have a body again, to have?
Or they're like pulling on our bodies for the change, or trying to take on our bodies to create the change that could be possible.
Those last very light for me. Yeah.
So everything, so all that is, I guess, and everywhere we're unwilling to receive the change that could be possible.
Yeah.
Embodied and disembodied. Let's destroy it and create all this. Right, wrong, good, battle, night, pod, puck, shirts, boys, and beyonds.
What questions could they ask if they want bodies?
Do they want a body? I mean, that's the thing I keep saying.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I keep saying it to everyone on the call too. It's like, do you actually want a body? Because at one point I looked at I was so hard on my body, and I had to be really brutally honest with myself and be like, do I really want this body? Do I want to be here with a body? And I really indulged not having a body. You know, I really went there. I didn't resist it. I didn't make it wrong. And everything this is bringing up was destroyed and create it. Right, wrong, good, battle, night, pod, puck, shirts, boys, beyond.
Just that question for the people, because we got 1,000 people on this listening, and some may have not really asked their bodies questions quite a bit. It's like what Shannon, when she asked that question, she's looking for a lightness would be a yes, I want a body. If it was heavy, a no. So you're asking, do I want a body? And if it's lighter for you, it's going to be the yes. Do I really want to have a body right now? Just to kind of get a clarity about what that could be for you, or for the entities. Like, do you want a body? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Seeing which one's lighter for you, the yes or the no energy, or which is heavier.
Yeah, I mean, entities aside, it's like how many of us behave like we actually desire to have our bodies, and how many of us behave and demonstrate that we hate our bodies.
And, you know, it's this being brutally honest with yourself, because then when you get an awareness that, no, I actually don't want a body, you then have a place to ask questions. Like, well, could I change that point of view? I do have one. Is there something I could change about this point of view? Is it actually even my point of view? Where did I
Totally.
There's questions you can start asking, but until you have the awareness of that energy as part of what you're creating from, you're not going to be able to change it.
Yeah.
Like when you had that awareness, Shannon, what was it when you know?
Right. Well, what finally came to me was I really indulged it for about a week, and it was a pretty hardcore week, but I wasn't willing to shut out the awareness. I had to discover for myself what was there. And what actually started to emerge was this trickle of caring for my body that I had never really fully acknowledged before. And it was like this caring that was so powerful and so gentle I started having access to it in a way I had never before.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of actually me caring about my body. And literally that was when I was, 28, 29. It was a lot of years until I got to that. And I mean, the time is irrelevant. The reality of that I had to actually choose, am I going to care for my body or not? You know?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Like the energy of that is freaking amazing. Like what energy, space, and consciousness can, to people listening, to have that awareness of the kindness of bodies available to them, just available. What energy, space, and consciousness can you and your bodies be to have the awareness of kindness to bodies available? Just even the trickle of it that you just showed, and the energy that shows. Everything doesn't allow that. Can we just run and create it all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, battle, 9, pod, puck, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
I love a pot pucker.
I'm on it.
You are
We have
on
some
it.
questions in the chat.
Yeah, go for it, Andrew, please. Or Meredith.
So Jennifer asked what comes up for me, or says, what comes up for me around this conversation is when I had joy with my body, my parents or adults shut me down and told me to stop.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to continue to be the child that you were? It's sort of like at what point do you stop being the child of consciousness, and when do you start being the adult that makes their own conscious choices about what you will be now and what will be for you now? So everywhere that the child is everywhere that you're making being a child of consciousness more important than being the adult of consciousness that can outcreate everything. Will you destroy and create all this, please?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, battle, 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys, hands. And I got to be brutally honest. I guess we're at the pointy end of the brutal honest part of the conversation. It's like, if you're still talking about how you were shut down as a kid, you're still invested in being a child.
Right.
And Jane started talking about child of consciousness and adult of consciousness at maybe the Being You class that he kicked off here in Australia, whenever that was, 18 million years ago. And so, and it's like, if you look at where in your life are you still being a child, where it's like, you have to look at what's child stress problems. Is being on time hard for you? Is, paying your rent hard for you? Do you tend to go into what was done wrong to you when you were a child? Those are all child stress problems, and that's you being a child of consciousness. And if you were an adult of consciousness, what could you create? What would you be choosing now?
Yeah.
Cool.
So everywhere you're unwilling, everywhere you're unwilling to be the adult that changes everything now, will you destroy and uncreate all this, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds.
I just wanted to mention really quickly, for those of you who have not ever heard the clearing statement, that if you want more information about what we're saying, this good, bad, right, wrong, pod, poc, all 9, shorts, boys and beyonds, this magic tool we have in access, you can go to theclearingstatement.com and you can find out more about it.
It didn't occur to me that there'd be brand new people on this conversation. Glenna, thank you. Welcome to the deep end. I thought we were doing a deep dive.
Maybe in the future too. It may spread and go viral. Our video went viral.
Of course. Thank you.
Nura would like to know, what is a child of consciousness? What does being a child of consciousness look like versus adult?
Well, I think I said that a little bit about, if you look at what are the problems that children have, number one, not being able to take care of themselves, not being able to pay rent, not, being able to figure out how to handle things. That's kids don't really know how to handle stuff in the world. And how many of the problems you are now having are due to being devoted to being a child of consciousness rather than being willing to be an adult of consciousness. Adults handle things, they take care of things, they support others, they know how to get through stuff. Nothing is impossible.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a way that the tools that you have available as adult are different, because a child will have temper tantrums and cry to get things to change quite a bit, and as adults we have a lot more tools than the tears that made our parents or created our parents helping us, or the temper tantrums that made them do everything we ever wanted. As adults, there's a whole slew of other possibilities we have available to us for changing what's not working for us or creating more of what is working.
Dane gave a really funny story about where he was being a child of consciousness. He's always had a time problem, and he travels a lot, and so he'll get home, unpack, and then he'll have to repack and go pretty quickly. He doesn't do a lot of days at home between his trips. And he talked about how he always, whenever he has to go for a trip, it's last minute, it's just mess, it's stress, there's just too much to do, and he's really stressed out, and the bag's not packed, and Gary's always got his bag packed just by the front door, plenty of time, laying on his bed, text messaging, watching TV, and Dane was running around with the chicken with his head cut off. And Dane finally realized that what he was doing was being a child and going into hysterics and temper tantrum, as you indicated, Glenna, around not being able to have the time or not knowing how to get stuff together that he wants to get together. And as soon as he committed to being an adult of consciousness, the bag started getting packed easier. All of the errands and the chores and everything was handled, and he had time. And it was the first time he'd ever had time packing for a trip. So that's just one of the ways that we can, and I think that something he said in that was really interesting about child stress. We look at the stresses in our lives, how much stress do we have around paying our bills or paying our rent? Is that an adult stress, or is that actually a stress from being a child? And if you were to be an adult of consciousness, what would you have to claim and own and create?
What to have an adult body of consciousness too, what is the energy of that? Just hearing you talking about it with this body awareness, because there's definitely a different body you have when you have an adult body. Mm-hmm. What is an adult body of consciousness, creating from consciousness, and how is that different from a child's body?
Yeah. And do we desire to have adult bodies, or do we forever seek to have the body of a child?
Yeah. Yeah,
And, you know,
how much limitation does that create in what your body can do and be, especially if you were a very young child?
so everywhere you decided to be a forever child in your bodies, will you guys destroy it and cradle this, please? Right, wrong, good, battle, 9, PUD, PUC, shorts, boys, beyonds.
And I see that a lot with people that say that they've been, you know, they were adults as children. So they like make those commitments and those decisions to be a child because they never had it, you know, as a child. But that actually destroys our life and creates these reactive, stressful problems like you were talking about with Dane, just like a mess. And it's all from just the temper tantrum and reactivity of that decision, judgment, conclusion, and computation from the SHICU implant and explant that you made a decision about. And it's so funny I always find, you know, it's like all these decisions we made, known or unknown, from so many years ago are actually the way we look through our eyes at the world. And they're actually the violence against us versus the awareness for us. All right, wrong, good and bad, PUD and PUC, all 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Cool. How long are we going, Meredith? Do we have a timeline for this?
We don't.
What do you guys want to do? Glenn, I know you're doing class. Should we do more questions or should we start to wrap it up? What do you guys want to do?
I think a few more questions and wrapping it up soon. We're at about an hour. So
Yeah.
Cool.
I think that's a good.
I saw one question from a while ago, and I just wanted to mention it because I also want to mention the obesity clinic that people can purchase. Somebody wrote something about storing fat on their bodies, and it feels so heavy and dense. And I just wanted to share that I was part, many of you guys on the call here too, I'm a part of the obesity clinic now, and then also part of what I call the pilot study, the guinea pigs, from originally when Gary and Dane started it. And one of the things that they talked about in the first 3 days that we did on the obesity clinic was how much fat have we stored on our bodies, in our cells, because we were actually giving information to people who couldn't receive it. And how much awareness did we actually have to shut off in order to how much awareness we had to shut off in order to not be aware, perceive, know, being received, that the person or persons could not receive the information that you were sharing. And then when that happens, it sticks back onto you.
Well, Gary, I think Gary actually put it like, how much are you burdening yourself with what others can't and won't receive?
Mm-hmm.
How much do we carry the burden of what others won't receive?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So to that person, how much are you carrying of the burden that people won't receive? And perhaps destroy and uncreate that, dissipate and release it to the earth, return to sender with consciousness attached, and keep pock and potting that eternally.
There was another question that came with that, which was, what can this person receive that will not burden me? What can this person receive that will not burden me?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Yeah.
So what can we all receive that won't burden others?
Yeah.
And I guess everywhere we bear our body as a burden.
Yeah.
And everywhere our parents projected that our bodies were a burden. It all.
Or a beast of burden.
I run to battle 9 PUD PUC shorts, boys and beyonds.
Yeah. Somebody drumming?
Oh.
Is it time to do the interpretive dance part of our body awareness Zoom?
And now dance class.
Yes.
Kindness exercise. Run, 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 run.
Yes.
NTPSS and all the rest.
So a fun question to wrap up with. Magic Meg said, what are some ways to access the magic and potency of the body? I sense I keep trying to do that through pain and sickness as a way to get present with the magic. What else is possible?
Ask.
Yeah, ask. Choice.
That's too easy.
Choice and then ask. Choose and ask. What else is possible with my body I've never even considered? Or what magic is possible with my body I've never even considered?
You could also maybe run some access body processes. A lot of us have found that that's created some fucking amazing magic. You know, it's sort of
a really good one. Yes.
You know, we've got these amazing tools if we use them.
Yes. Amazing tools.
And one of the things about the body process is they allow you to access the talents and abilities and gifts that your body has available, that only your body may have available. You and the planet and everyone around you. So if you do the processes and choose, you're going to have more of that show up. It's going to change for you. Yeah. Find a class. I don't know if Meredith, you were going to mention it all.
Yeah.
What are these body processes? How do you find them? Where are classes?
Yeah. So first of all, thebodyawarenessweekend.com is the website for Body Awareness Weekend that is starting. It's really the 17th and 18th of December, wherever you are in the world. So it's already starting in Oz, in Australia and New Zealand, and it'll probably extend. I don't even know where all the time zones are, but it'll probably extend past the 18th in the US, but it's starting, and there are events all around the world. And there are links to find both classes that are going on, 3-day body classes, body process classes, access bars classes on the bodyawarenessweekend.com website, as well as to find a lot of, we're going to play online throughout this weekend on the Facebook event page for this. So it's Body Awareness Weekend main event. And I'm putting links to all of this in the follow-up email that I'm going to send out to everybody with the recording of this. So you'll have access to all of it. But these amazing facilitators have classes that they do. I'll put links to those. There is a body website, body.accessconsciousness.com, which is a great place to go to find out more about body processes and classes that are going on and how to get involved ongoing past this weekend. But there are events happening all over the world this weekend, online, on the phone, in homes. So that link to find will be both in the email I send to you guys, and it's also on the bodyawarenessweekend.com website. So thank you guys for being here. This has been a really fun kickoff party. We've gotten tons of feedback in the chat, you guys. I don't know if you all you facilitators have seen it, but lots of gratitude and yeses and woohoos and what else is possible with bodies now.
Yes, Meredith, for putting this all together.
Yes, thank you, Meredith. Thank you guys, and thank everyone for being here. We got to some really interesting. I love that we had a vast spectrum. We had Glenna, who was in connection with the brand newbies. So thank you, Glenna. You know, I was diving off the deep end, smashing everyone's faces in the in the great change of it all.
Awesome. How much fun have we had?
How does it get any better?
There's
Thanks,
8
everybody.
on this thing. There's
Our classes really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay, Susan!
Awesome.
Another 3-day body facilitator there. Yay! Yeah, thank you guys so much. What if it's all so much easier than you've ever imagined?
Hi bodies, hi bodies, hi bodies.
bodies.
Hi bodies, hi bodies, hi bodies.
Thanks, Meredith. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.